Hey everybody, it's Zach. Welcome back to the Heroverse. And guys, we are back again with another episode review of Outer Banks Season 3. This was episode 5 called Heists. This definitely by far was the most fun episode so far and the most kind of like adrenaline episode. And most like, I feel like we're kind of getting things on the roll now because there was a lot of things I feel like that like were executed to move the story along. And there was a moment in this episode where I was like, oh, you son of a bitch. Like, I was so freaking pissed. So I'm going to let Annie go first on what she liked about this episode. But kind of like a recap on what happened in last week's episode real quick. Like, you know, we know that John B and Big John went to, what's the place they went to? What is it? Charleston to find the last piece of the map to go to the city of gold, which is El Dorado.
You said last week's episode. This is
that's what I meant. Like the last episode that we did, episode 4. So, and we know that JJ, Sarah, Cleo, and also Pope, and are kind of pretty much trying to heist the cross because they know Sarah overheard her with her I guess her brother Rafe having a conversation with Ward about how the cross was being sold, or Ward wanted the cross to be sold to the museum. But we all know Rafe had his own plans from pretty much bringing Barry into things, being like, I need you to so-called rob me while we're doing the transaction or whatever, so that way I can keep the cross, but I can give you a big pay cut. And I am so surprised what he ended up doing, but we'll talk about that probably towards the end. But Annie, what did you like about this episode? There was a lot going on.
Well, for one, don't come at me, but I don't like Big John. I don't like John B's dad at all.
Which was a shocker to me because Annie was happy for that episode about seeing them together, but I can't understand what Annie's talking about. Want to go a little bit more into why you don't like him, really?
Just like all this stuff he's bringing John B into, he shot 2 guys in front of John B. That probably traumatized John B.
But the reason he shot those 2 guys real quick is because they were about to shoot John B in the dome. Like, they were about to take him out. So it was kill or be killed in that situation. Which, I mean, John B knows the risk when you're trying to search for gold. But I feel like at this point, John B doesn't care anymore. Like, he just doesn't care. I feel like that's his headspace. He just does not want to get sucked back into this gold shit because he already knows what happens when you go down this path. He's been through it for 2 seasons. He knows, like, if you go down this path, there's just nothing but danger.
How Big John wanted John B to kill
the one lady that had the ID tag.
That had ID tag to get into the archive room or whatever.
Yeah, get into the archive room. Yeah, exactly. To find the Charleston church.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Charleston church stuff.
Or the Trinity church.
The Trinity church stuff that had the final piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
They needed to get into the archive room, but he wanted John B to take the gun to rob the lady that had the ID badge to get into the archive room. With the Trinity church stuff. But John B just couldn't do it, and I thought to myself, because Big John says, we'll just do it the old-fashioned way, and I thought to myself, well, if you're going to do it the old-fashioned way, if there was a better way to not hold up somebody, shouldn't you do that because it's less, you know what I mean? Shouldn't you do the option that's less likely going to scar your son? You know what I mean? Shouldn't you do the one that's like not going to scar your son for life, or not, or do the easiest option to get what you need? Like, it seems like Big John's not thinking clearly because he's obsessed. And we see that. He's so obsessed. He'll do anything to get to El Dorado. Mm-hmm. But what else?
So to say, I just don't like Big John for all this. Bringing John B into and stuff like that. I did have a heartbreaking moment. Okay. When I thought he died. JJ.
Yeah, let's talk about that real quick. So, while, like I said, they're in Charleston trying to get into the archive room with John B and Big John. They're trying to do that, and John B has no clue what's going on with the cross being in the Outer Banks and the heist that they're planning. But there was a big chase sequence with JJ on the motorcycle, and he had Key on at first, right when they loaded the cross into Topper's truck. Which in this episode, they're trying to pretty much JJ. Says to, Sarah, like, oh, take one for the team, like, Topper's already whipped already, we need a truck to move the cross, like, we're gonna need somebody, because Pope couldn't get his father's truck, because Pope's father said, if this doesn't work, somebody has to, bring in money for the family, and that was pretty much the deal, to let Pope go. He's like, you're not taking my truck, though. But yeah, keep going with that. Like, what were you gonna say?
Like, when JJ like when he slid off the bridge with his motorcycle, I was like, please do not let him be dead. Like,
I was so shocked.
Don't.
I was like, oh my god. I was like, he's not dead. I'm like, his motorcycle's there. He has to be somewhere. But that was scary though. You could tell Kiara was like, oh my god, where is he? And, like, she was breaking down. And she's like, oh my god, like, because to the lead up to that, Kiara would not get on his bike because JJ dropped the wallet, her father's wallet. You know, because earlier in the episode, you know, her father was saying like, oh, you know what I mean, you know, Kiara, you were fine until you met these pogues. You know what I mean, like, you know, that kid is you know, he's a thief and, you know, a liar and blah 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 blah, and he's just like his father. And even Kiara's mom's like, don't say that about him or whatever and all that stuff, like kind of trying to defend JJ, like, oh, you shouldn't be saying that and all that. But you could really tell that JJ's like, if they're gonna think of me like this, I'm gonna take his wallet. And they even had like a moment like Kiara's like, why'd you take my father's wallet? And he's like, they already think less of me, so I figure I might as well get something out of it. And she's like, you know, you're just proving them right. And of course, like, they saw Pope, Sarah, Cleo, and Topper all drive off, and they're like, JJ's like, oh, that's them, like, get on, let's go, like, the cops are after them. And then of course she jumps on to the truck with Topper and them so they could get away. And of course JJ did the coolest move with the bike. Like, he stopped it, like, frontwards, flipped it around the bike, and then he went straight towards the police with a rock, threw the rock at the police car, drove off to take the heat off of Topper and them so they could get away with the cross. And I loved it. I thought it was really cool, but of course, like I said, like, JJ had to slide off before his bike crashed and flew over the bridge, and pretty much, kind of, in a way, kind of faked his death, essentially, kind of faked it, at least for the police, so that way, you know, they you know, that way he could get away. But, you know, what's crazy is that they stood down there for so long, the police ended up seeing, like, oh my god, he's still there, you know, calling in all units, like, to go after them, you know what I mean? They're trying to get away, with the shipment that they took off the train.
Yeah.
And little do we know, by the end of all this bullshit, I'm gonna let you say it, what was in the crate?
Fake stuff?
Tires. Tires were in the crate because Barry got there before, and I knew it. I even told Annie, I'm like, Barry already got there. I'm like, it's not even there. Because when Pope and Cleo got onto the train, I was like, you guys need to check that crate to see if it's even in there. And they didn't do it until, of course, they were bitching at Topper to go faster, and then the thing fell off. It broke. The crate broke, and they ended up finding out it was just tires inside. And I really felt bad for Pope because this was make or break. This was it. Like, his parents let him do this, and he wanted to prove his parents that he could get it, and that it was, like, in a sense, even though his parents knew it was real and believed what he was saying, he really wanted to do this for his parents and do it for his family. And I really felt bad. Like, I really felt bad for him. He's like, you know, because he just keeps taking losses, honestly. And this is his one chance to prove that, you know, I could do this. I feel bad. But, you know, going into, but let's talk about how once they got out, John B and Big John with the statue, with the final piece of the map, guess who took the Twinkie?
You say it.
You can say it.
You can say
Who
it.
took the Twinkie?
You.
I forget her name.
Carla Limbry.
Carla Limbry took the Twinkie. And guess what they did to get the Twinkie back? I'm going to let you say this because it was cut. It was cut, bro.
You can.
Big John faked to get the Twinkie back. He faked saying that he had the scarf, the healing scarf, and gave it to Carla, pretty much saying like, oh, like, I got what you needed, pretty much to get the Twinkie back. But in reality, it was like a placebo effect, making it sound like, oh, it's supposed to do this, but it never did it. Like, he lied to her. And I was like, oh man, even John B was like he was disturbed at like how far his father was willing to go. Like, he was upset. Like, I can't believe you're lying to her like this. Like, how can you do this? It's because he's so obsessed, Big John, with this gold. He's willing to lie, especially about someone that already, like, this could hurt her by you lying. You know what I mean? Because she is dropping her crutches, trying to walk, and then that did work because in a way he was putting smoke, like, up her ass about it, saying like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, oh, this is the scarf. Oh, it works. Pretty much trying to give it that placebo effect, saying, oh, it's gonna work. And, you know, John B was like, I can't believe, like, you're doing this. Like, he just couldn't even, like, look at her while her thinking that, you know what I mean, and look at his father about lying about this scarf that's so-called healing. because he even said previously before he even went into the house, saying like, oh, that like I don't believe in that, you know what I mean? But she does, and we're gonna lie to her, saying that this is it, and kind of we're gonna like pretty much you know hype it up, saying that this is the scarf, and in a way it kind of did because she dropped her crutches and said I'm healed. But but John B was like disgusted at it, like I can't believe you, like what you're willing to do to get this like to the gold. And of course he's like, oh, like John B, just sometimes you just need to believe, man, and I do. Now on to El Dorado, like El Dorado, here we come. But it's like, I have a bad feeling that Singh knows that probably the mission that they're on. I feel like because also when Singh doesn't hear back from the dudes that are about to kill John B and Big John, he's gonna know something is up. He's gonna know that they got to it, and he's gonna go to the Outer Banks. I feel like in the next episode we're gonna find out that Singh came to the Outer Banks, and he realizes he can't let anybody else do his dirty work. He needs to do it himself. Mm-hmm. So I'm really worried about going into the next episode what might happen, especially going into the headspace of how we ended this episode with Rafe and Barry and melding the cross. I could not believe that they were doing that. That was really upsetting. Like, you said, I hate Rafe at the end. You're like, I hate Rafe.
Well, I hate him right now, but, like, I don't hate Rafe. Mm-hmm. I just hate things that Rafe does.
Okay, but, like, that was cut, though. Like, that was so messed up. Like, think about the history to that. And his father wanted to give it to a museum. Ward's on the kind of a redemption arc. Wanted to give it to the museum. Kind of like what Pope would have done. And what do you know? Rafe melts it, saying if I can't, like this will stop, the Pogues from coming after it if I melt it. And this will ensure that it's mine if I melt it. Yeah. And Pope is going to, like, be pissed when he finds out that Rafe melted his cross. His family's cross. Yeah. Bro, Rafe is just doing this to pretty much move the gold around, to move the money around, to give Barry some of that money. To give, you know what I mean? Like, all that stuff. Like, that's what he's doing. Like, it's real cut if you really think about it. Like, it's really messed up. Like,
but why should you Barry back into anything? Because Barry was a big issue in the first.
Because Barry, but that's the thing he needed. He needed somebody that he would know that he could control with money by giving the person money. And the only person he could really think of at that moment was Barry. And Barry technically owed him one for selling out Rafe. You know what I mean? Like, in the middle of the little, like, pond or whatever, like, selling him out. Like, or the, like, in the cut to Shoop. So I'm excited to see if we'll see Shoop anymore, because we saw Shoop on the one news teleprompter or whatever in this episode, but like we didn't really see him leading the charge after JJ and them when they were all trying to take the cross and stuff like that, or trying to take the cargo from the train. So I don't know. I'm excited to see what we'll see in the next episode. I think things will really I think things are now kicking off, and I'm excited to see where we'll go from here now that they've kind of connected the map. And I'm excited to see if because John B's father, Big John, said that he didn't want John B to bring even Sarah into what they were doing, going to Charleston. So I'm worried by Big John and John B coming back. And what if John B wants to tell them about how we found the last piece of the puzzle that will lead us to the treasure? What if Big John won't let John B tell him? Yeah. What if he's still being selfish, even though John B's like, look, I helped you do this. It's no longer just your treasure. We're bringing them in on this. We took over as you were presumed dead. Like, they deserve just as much as the gold as you do. I feel like, in a way, Big John is kind of turning into Ward in a way, by him being so selfish, not willing to let anybody else in on the gold. And I feel like that's all that's bringing. I feel like the gold is bringing nothing but greed. I feel like that's what this treasure hunt is doing. All the gold has done nothing but bring people greed and bring people betrayal and stuff. I feel like it's just been crazy. So I feel like maybe I'm hoping Big John will realize that I've just been greedy and I've been so, and it's made me gone mad how driven I am to get this gold. And it's kind of like, in a way, John B's losing his father because how much he's willing to change who he is just to get the gold. You know what I mean? I feel like John B realizes that, oh my god, my father, look how obsessed he is, look how mad he is, look what he's willing to do. He's willing to lie to somebody and do a placebo effect to somebody to pretty much get the Twinkie to get what he wants. You know what I mean? He was willing to give me a gun, his own son, to hold up somebody to get something for him. It's nothing but greed and nothing but selfishness at this point. And I'm a little concerned about Big John, for sure. But do you have anything else to say before we end the video?
No.
Okay, guys, but guys, yet again here, if you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel, put those notifications, like this video. Love to have you guys here, part of the fam, part of the channel. We're all about spreading love, positivity, and motivation. Yet again, guys, we are almost to 700 subscribers. That is the goal, to get to 700. My initial goal is to get to 1,000 by the end of this year. Definitely let me know if you guys have been watching these episodes with us. Definitely let me know how you guys liked this episode 5. If you're way ahead of us, like, definitely let us know what your favorite episode was, like, without giving any spoilers. Definitely let us know what your favorite episode was. Let us know what you think about episode 5, and also let us know overall what you think about season 3 of Outer Banks so far. If you finished it, definitely let us know what you think about it so far. Let us know, like let us know, are you guys excited for season 4? And also, I'm really curious to know, do you think season 4 should be the last season of Outer Banks? Do you guys think it should be? Because at the end of the day, it feels like, you know, like I said in the previous episode, it feels like, you know, this show has, you know, has like a one trope that keeps going over and over, which is, of course, the treasure hunting. So it gets to the point of how many times can you treasure hunt and without it getting to the point where, like, it overstays its welcome. So I'm curious to know, do you think season 4 should be its last season? I'm curious to know, how long do you think this series will go on for? Definitely let me know down in the comments below. But guys, yet again, that was the video. Hope everybody has a great day, a safe day, and we'll see you guys in episode 6 of Outer Banks season 3. Peace.